Welcome to Chi-Town Cigar Podcast, the podcast where three Chicago guys light up a fine cigar and get into everything from sports and current events to hobbies, life's little moments, and everything in between. Whether you're here for the cigars, the conversation, or just some good laughs, we got you covered. So grab your favorite smoke, settle in, and join us for laid-back chats with a Chicago twist. Now it's time to put some smoke in the air.
It's Tuesday night in the Windy City, and that means another episode of the Chi-Town Cigar Guys. Glad you joined us live or listen to us later on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I'm Mike, coming to you live from the Aganorsa Studios in Central Illinois. What's up, guys? You ready for another show?
I'm totally ready.
I'm excited. You have no idea.
How about you?
I'm ready. Yeah, it's the crazy Chicago weather is back. We're in the low 40s today, so but I'm ready. It's always good to warm up with everybody. So
let's just jump right into it tonight because we got a lot to cover and we got a special.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's jump into our mission and then we'll welcome everybody.
Yeah.
All right, our mission for the night. We are bringing in the godfather of cigars, I guess, or the cigar media. Our sensei, our leader, our one that we look to, Eric Guttormson. What's going on?
What's up, boys? Thanks for having me on the show. I can't wait to hang out with you guys tonight.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It really is. I mean, it's we were telling Eric before the show that this is his child, whether he wants it or not. It could be one of those things you go, can I abort this thing right now? But
whether he claims it or not.
Whether he claims it or not, yeah.
Runs through Eric and his show.
Yeah. We've said this before to people, and I think quite a few people that join us live know, but obviously we're all part of the Cigar Dojo. We did not, looking at our shirts, just so you guys know, we did not plan this, but we are all out wearing the same shirt. So that tells you how much we start thinking.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, so we all came together from three different walks of life and started a podcast all because of Eric. So it's his fault that he started the Cigar Dojo, which we'll get into and everything. So
well, that is mighty nice of you guys to say. So appreciate. The dojo wouldn't be the same without cats like you guys. So really, we appreciate you guys.
So what's everybody smoking tonight?
I am doing, of course, is there any doubt what Michael would be doing today, being the Aganorsa whore that he is? But I am doing the Reviver. It's the Dojo Aganorsa blend, the newest blend, which this is the first one I've smoked. And man, these are good. These are good. It's got that spice to it. It's got that saltiness to it. I'm loving this thing. I am absolutely loving it. What are you smoking, Marty?
I am smoking the Dojo Fratello Afterburner in honor of the trip around the moon that we're taking right now.
Yeah.
I like that.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking some Maker's Mark 46 cask strength.
Very nice. And Teddy, the Greek, what are you smoking tonight?
I got the Camacho 5280. First time having it. Really like it. Burn is great. Great smoke.
Awesome.
So thank you, Eric. Getting together with Camacho. Really good stick.
That was a fun project, yeah.
And last but not least, Master Sensei,
I have a Reviver in the ready to go, but I'm finishing up my Ramon Eones from AJ Fernandez. I just got a box of these today, so I figured, you know what? I'm gonna fire one of these bad boys up and smoke it. These are so delicious. So I'm gonna finish that and then get into my Reviver Maduro.
Nice.
Yeah, we saw your guest on Smoke Night Live last week was smoking those, and you guys had a lot of good things to say about that cigar.
It's a great stick if you guys haven't tried it. Like, this cigar's been through a few iterations over the years. And recently they kind of handed the brand over to AJ and let him just sort of do his own thing. And if you've been lucky enough to have either of the fancy H. Upman anniversary releases, the 175 and the 180, those are really high-end, expensive cigars. But I feel like this is like a version of it, maybe, because it tastes very similar. So now this isn't super cheap either. I think it's a box of 20 might be like, I don't know, 210 or something like that, which isn't bad, of course. No. But it's much less expensive, I guess I should say. But you kind of get the same vibe from it. So I really like these.
Nice. Fireborn's good to see you. GX Rebel, always nice to see you. Val Chavez, hey, how you doing, buddy? Let's see, David K, hello, how you doing? Matt Brugger, good to see you. See, these are all. Oh, Big Al made our cigar rest. We were just talking about this before the show. Al, we really love these things. So great on that.
Should have brought the ashtray from downstairs.
Yeah. He made an ashtray. He's I don't know. Did we talk Al into joining the dojo?
He's in dojo.
Yeah. So we got some. So head over to Al's website and check him out. Buy some stuff. Buy some cool swag. Gurkha Tanya, how you doing? Glad to see you're here. Protocol 80.
Wani.
What's going on, Wani?
Oh,
we're honored.
Hey,
we've made it big. So
once you got Juan and Tanya on, you've hit the big time.
That's it. We're in. We're in. So we talked about the dojo, and I think a lot of people know the history. Some people might not, but why don't you go back and sort of give us a little bit of history of this wild and wacky ride that you guys have been on called Cigar Dojo?
Yeah, it is a wild and wacky ride. I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version of this. So back in the day, I've done a whole lot of. I was sort of known for building communities online, and I built one of the biggest theology websites in the world at one point. And then I had a really popular auto racing website. And that was like a community. This is before apps, right? This is all before apps. And so I was doing some work for I was actually the NASCAR guy here in Colorado, so I did all their media and for them. And in that time frame, we started really getting into cigars. Jordan and my other son Dominic and Matt Hall, you guys know Matt on the show. So we were all getting really into cigars, and so we thought we'd make a website and just for our own personal usage, basically to kind of catalog our experiences. And it was called quickcigarreviews.com. And the idea was, we would just basically make posts about what we thought about the cigars we were smoking. And at the time there was a few popular, I can't even think of their names now, cigar forums out there. And so we were, all of a sudden our site started to get kind of popular. We started getting a lot of traffic, kind of, unexpectedly, maybe because that was my job in life. So I knew kind of how to do that. But I didn't expect it to grow that fast. But we didn't like that name. It didn't seem very marketable, very fun. Quickcigarreviews.com. And I like community building. And so that doesn't sound like a community. And so we decided to rebrand it. And Jordan actually came up with the name Cigar Dojo, which the whole idea is, a dojo is a place where you go to learn. Mm-hmm. And at the time, it wasn't like we were thinking oh, we're going to teach other people. Instead, it was more like, we'll just all learn together, like we'll learn from the audience as much as they'll learn from us. And that it's a dojo. That's where you just go and you hang out and you learn and that kind of thing. And then that did really, really well. I started getting on I got on, KMA radio and all that kind of stuff. And then there came a point where I was like, hey guys, like I could develop an app for this, we could make a community. And so, we decided to sink all of our money that we had, what little money we had, into building an app. And so once we built the original Cigar Dojo app, which was on all the app stores and all that kind of stuff, then things just like exploded. And within, 6 months or so, we were like, oh, like this is actually probably a legit business, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where things started to rev up. Jordan quit his job and became full-time. I was still doing NASCAR. In fact, I still did NASCAR up until basically COVID. A lot of people don't know that. I was like double dipping.
Wow.
But I grew up in auto racing, so I was a big I still liked doing that. And eventually I couldn't do it anymore just because the dojo was just too much. But so then fast forward a few years, and then Apple decided to kick off all cigar apps. And so they did that. So we had to recreate ourselves again. I mean, the cigardojo.com never changed, right?
Mhm.
That was always there. And we had started doing the podcast and that kind of thing. But when Apple kicked us off, that's when we had a development team in Croatia come up with dojoverse.com. And that way we weren't in the app stores anymore, but we didn't really care because I was just sick of being under Facebook and Google and Apple's thumb, and
Yep.
so once we did dojoverse.com, we were just free to do whatever we wanted to do. And so that's what we've been doing since 2020. I think that's when that happened, basically the COVID year. We were a little before that, but it's been like a little bit over 6 years, I think, since we've been doing dojoverse.com. And but now we're nobody knows this yet, but
Breaking
we're
news.
actually working on Dojoverse 3.0. So we'll see when
Nice.
that happens in the next year or two. So
Wow. Yeah, because you
I
guys
saw
do
you asking for beta testers.
that's for a different project.
Oh, okay.
That's for a different project, which is we're going to release in the next couple weeks, and we're really excited about that one. It's very different from dojoverse.com. It's not the same thing, but it's going to be fun and exciting, and so that'll be a new product, a new fun product for our dojo people and other people too. It's not necessarily just a dojo thing, but we'll be announcing that in the next couple weeks. It's pretty much done. We're just kind of beta testing it right now.
Yeah, it
So
looks awesome.
Dojoverse 3.0 is like the next revolution in the Dojoverse.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it's a
Top
ways
secret,
off.
you heard
It's a
it
ways off,
first.
but we're in the early stages of that, and so we like a lot of people, we're frustrated too with when we built the dojo verse, it was all we could it was expensive to have a company do this for us, but at the same time we had to cut corners so that we could pull it off, because we don't have a multi-million-dollar budget. And we have a 10,000, we're in the tens of thousands of dollars budget for development, right? And so when we did it, we had to build it on top of a couple other things, pre-existing things and this kind of stuff. And so we're frustrated, just like everybody, that like right now we've been updating everything, and there's things that don't work, and there's things that are slow, and there's things that are frustrating, and we're kind of sick of working, with the Croatian team. They're great guys and all that, but now we're going to take it to another level, and it's going to be amazing.
It's awesome.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, your recent upgrade had a few hiccups. seems to be
Yeah,
working.
they always do. You know, they always it always happens when you do that, and it's tough when you're working with people that live in Croatia because they take vacations all the freaking time. They're on vacation more than I swear to God, it's this craziest thing. But also, there's this time difference, right? So, like, there's this issue. We need it fixed right away. Well, they're sleeping,
Yeah.
And so then, there's this like whole cycle. And then if they didn't understand the problem or fix it right, or whatever, it's just it's painful. And I'm just telling you guys, Jordan would probably kill me right now if he knew I was even saying this, but because nobody's supposed to know. But we are going to
nobody listens to us, so it's okay.
we're gonna fix all. We're not
that big.
In the next year or so. You guys, this is everything's gonna change. It's gonna be amazing.
It's funny because the small things are the things I love because the cigar log. I mean, it's nice to be able to go look at like Aganorsa, for example, and be able to say there was something that came up on one of our Aganorsa acolytes Zoom calls one day where Fabian said there was 175 different SKUs for Aganorsa, and he says, "How many SKUs have you smoked?" And so people are sort of throwing things out there. So I thought, well, let me look at Dojo real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I counted up, and I was up to 96 different SKUs for Aganorsa. So I'm like, but it was nice to be able to look at that and do a quick tally and be able to go, wow, okay, I can look at this. And so it's pretty cool to be able to say, hey, I know what I smoke a lot of, but how much do I smoke of that cigar? So I mean, I always tell people it's a great way to sort of keep track of what you're smoking, but at the same point, and I think it goes back to what the reason you started Dojo is to learn what are other people smoking? What haven't I smoked that somebody else is smoking that I might want to try?
Right. I think the smoke log is really cool because so we get asked by a few, not everybody, but there's a lot of people that want to have like this like virtual humidor type thing,
Uh-huh.
And I'm not poo-pooing that for everybody, but for me personally, that doesn't interest me. Like I have, a lot of cigars and, trying to like keep track of who cares? I don't even care. Like it would be just too much of a hassle. And so, but I like smoke log because that's just a log of my check-ins. So I don't really have to do anything, it just kind of automatically tracks, where I am, what brands I smoke the most of and that kind of thing. So it's a little different than like a virtual humidor, but for me, it's more valuable because now I'm seeing like, oh gosh, like I smoke a lot of Perdomo. Like, I look at that smoke log and I'm like, holy crap. Like I didn't even realize like that brand's like my number one brand. And then I think Aganorsa might be my number two or whatever. But, and then you can go back and also just see your actual individual cigars, which is kind of handy, find out what you've smoked recently or forever. I mean, that feature actually works really well. And I like that feature. That one came out nice.
Yeah, no, it's a great feature. I love that. I love that ability to be able to go and look and see. So,
so what was the NASCAR website that you
No.
that you worked on, if you can say, because I'm kind of a closet NASCAR fan.
Well, actually, so a couple things. I did this site called BigWestRacing.com, which doesn't exist anymore. And it was a forum, right? And it was super popular at the time. Basically, we covered all of pretty much anything from the Rocky Mountains west, and so it was a lot of community involvement and that kind of thing. And then I had another site that was called AutoRacingMemories.com, and that was where people would discuss vintage stuff like the history of racing, and there was a lot of really cool content on that, and that's long since gone as well. But the NASCAR site was actually Colorado National Speedway, which is the NASCAR track here in Colorado, which is a very popular basically the 3rd mile paved oval. And so every Saturday night I would be there covering the races. I created an app for them, and so like people would communicate through the app, and I did the social media updates for them. Then I would write the story about how the races went, and who won this and who won this and how did they do it, who crashed, who spun out, all that kind of stuff. So I basically covered the races for NASCAR here in Colorado at our NASCAR track.
Cool. Do you miss that type of stuff, or are you sort of very content with Dojo right now?
I mean, there's parts of it that I miss. Because I do like auto racing. I've been doing it. My dad raced, my brother raced. And so like that's a big part of our family is auto racing. And so there's some of that I really miss, but I don't really miss doing that anymore because I did it. I did that from 2008 to, like I said, right around 2020-ish or something like that. And it was just enough for me, like going out there every Saturday night. And then, my whole Saturday was taken up by that. And then my Sunday was taken up by that because I'd have to write the story and make the page with all the images. And this is how the night went and that kind of thing. So my Sundays and Saturdays were basically shot. And so when I stopped doing that, I just kind of had enough. Like it was time to stop doing that. And, you get your fill. And so I'm content with it.
Good. We normally have Fireborn that's chiming in with these off-color things, and now we've got Juan chiming in.
Yeah, this is funny.
He says we have an OnlyFans page somewhere.
It's those naked cigars hanging out. It's the unbanded cigars that are hanging out there.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know what's going to come out of Juan's mouth. So
I'm going to ask this question because I'm dying to know. So next year's 15.
Yeah.
15 years of dojo. Are you guys putting plans together?
There is some plans. I don't have it all crystallized quite yet. There's one really big cigar project that I hope happens next year. But it theoretically could happen before that. Just that's the weird thing when you're doing these releases. You can't always exactly predict timing. And so you try to fit it into a spot, but it doesn't always work out that way. And so we have one really huge one that I'd like to happen next year. But other than that, 15 is a nice number, but it's not. It's not that crazy or anything. So,
but I mean, from a cigar standpoint, from a community standpoint, I think it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't have the ring of like a 10 or a 20 or a 30 or something like that. But yeah, no, I'm excited too. Like I never expected, 15 years ago that we'd be full time. Scott does reviews for us, and Juan now he's a dojo employee basically, and of course Jordan's full time. I'm full time. Like Matt does a lot of stuff. Chad does a lot of stuff. Robbie, Randy. Like I couldn't have ever imagined that it would be what it is today. And so yeah, I'm to your point. It is cool, and I'm proud of it for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's the Chi-Town guys talk about it, pulling people together, pulling us three knuckleheads together and putting together a podcast. And it's like going, holy cow. And you do from around the globe. Marty and I were at Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest 2 years ago, 2024. And it was amazing to just get together and hang out with people at the hotel and people that you talk to online. Now they're in front of you. And so it's just a great experience, and I think it's a compliment to you guys and what you've done with dojo and everything. So,
yeah, that's so much fun. Is like the people that you meet along the way. Like there's been guys from England and Australia and all over, obviously, the United States, of course, every corner of the United States that we've gotten to meet and hang out with and become friends with. And that's great. Like, I mean, yeah, my friends that I have left in this world are all basically from, the dojo. Like that's, I don't really have other friends outside of this. And so it's cool that that I've been able to get to meet guys like you guys and hang out and enjoy cigars and just hang out and be buds.
Awesome. So Rocky Mountain switched up this year.
Yeah.
and they're moving to Cheyenne. But you guys are still doing your I forget what you call it,
Dochella.
Dochella. Is that what you call it?
So that's a little up in the. I mean, yes, we are going to do Dochella. It'll be different. Right now, the tentative plan goes something like this. We're gonna do everything in Cheyenne. Thursday night, we'll probably do the Flavor Odyssey brewery beer tour from up there, and hit some cool breweries that we may even jump down into Fort Collins to one or two. I'm not sure yet. So that'll be all on Thursday night, and then Friday we'll do Dochella at one of the smoker friendly stores in Cheyenne, and I think Terrence will be involved in that as well, and so will Smoker Friendly for the first time. Like they'll actually be playing a part in Dochella, and so we'll do that on Friday, and then of course Saturday is the event at Little America Resorts, and then Saturday night at the hotel we'll do our tailgate party where we just all hang out and play cornhole or whatever we do like we normally do after the event, relax a bit. But so it's similar, but it'll have to be kind of different because, we try to think like, okay, should we still do Dochella on Thursday? But then everybody has to like find a room down here too, and that complicates it for people that are traveling. So now they got to get a hotel here, and then they got to switch hotels and go up there, and so we would have preferred to just continue to have our Thursday night party here, but we didn't want to like make it really hard and complicated for people. So now we're shifting to just trying to do everything up there.
Interesting.
Fireborn asked, are we going to still do the broadcast from Dochella? Yes, we're going to do that from Scotty's trailer at Dochella. And so we'll have Smoke Night Live Friday night from that Smoker Friendly that's up there. At least this is like I said, it's a tentative plan. So some of this could theoretically change. But that's the way I foresee it right now is Scotty will set up his trailer. We'll have the party there, beer, food, whatever. And then we'll do a show from the trailer and have a few cigar guys on, whoever is around, and that kind of thing.
It's awesome. Yeah, there's a possibility there could be a road trip in store for the Chi-Town guys to.
I do have a room block. If anybody's traveling down, I think a lot, at least over half of it's sold out already. But I haven't been super broadcasting it yet because it's like 20 rooms, which isn't a lot. So I'm trying to like make sure that the people that really need it can get it. So if you're for sure coming in, contact me on Dojo or whatever, and I can get you that link.
Yeah, awesome. I guess one of the questions TX asked is obviously we're all smoking a Dojo collab. What's coming? Can you tell us what's coming up? Can you sort of hint to what's coming up?
I can't tell you. I can tell you that there's going to be one in June.
Oh.
So I don't think anybody's ever said that in public before. There's going to be one in June, and then of course we always have our Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest one. We'll do that.
Somebody announced that last year.
Yeah. And then we'll have a really big one in November.
Wow.
That's going to be a pretty dramatic one, I would say.
Huh.
And then there's this other one, like I told you earlier, that's floating around that I don't exactly know when, if that'll be this year or next year. Nice.
So there you go, TX. You got a bunch of them coming up. Start saving your money now and be ready.
I can tell you this, Mike. All three of these are bangers.
I will venture
I don't think I've had a Dojo cigar that I haven't liked, really. So.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I gotta say, like, we hope that we don't have, there's always going to be times when there's ones that you don't maybe like as much as other ones, but we try real hard to make none of them be dog rockets, and so I think we've done pretty good so far.
I think Mike must be tending to his dogs or something.
Yeah, I think. Can you make more psychedelic turtles?
Well, it's possible. I mean, who knows?
That's
You know,
one
I
I
can't-
never got to try, but and people won't share them with me. Like I've begged Wayne to share one with me, but he's holding on to them.
Those
You
are so
never
good.
know what's coming down the pike.
Nice. Nice.
I like it.
Sammy Flo wants to know what's been your favorite collab, or at least your top 3.
Ooh,
Top
that's such a
3.
good question. I think my favorite is probably the original. When I say original Reviver, I mean the original blend Reviver, because that's like right in my wheelhouse of cigars. That graham crackery, salty kind of cigar. So I love that one. Obviously, the Davidoff we did was, to this day, like in my opinion, one of the best Davidoffs you can get your hand. It's a little stronger than most Davidoffs, and so it has a bit more body to it. And then Feng Shui with Espinosa or Psychedelic Turtle 2 was also super good. So one of those Espinosas, probably either Feng Shui or Psychedelic Turtle 2 would be in there. And those would probably be my top 3, I guess.
Nice.
Man,
Has there been,
Okay.
you don't have to name the brand, but have there been brands that you guys have tried to do collabs with that have just pushed back and said no?
No, usually it's the other way around. Like, usually we tell
nice.
certain brands that, and this isn't trying to like be like a dick or anything, like a flex. It's not that. It's just that, like, for us, when we do it, it's for you, it's for the community. And so some brands just don't, it's, our community is just not going to like that brand, and that they're just not into it. So we try to know our audience, real well. And like, we know what you guys like, because we see all the data. And so when a certain brand comes to us and says, hey, we want to do one of those, and we just know, like, this probably just is not going to be, it's not going to move the needle for our community. And so we just gently tell them. But we have tried a few of those along the way, and they, like, even the Fratello, right? Like, it's a good cigar, and I like that cigar, and it has a lot of meaning to me because all my dad's artwork is on that box and all that kind of stuff. So we do venture out of some of the, like, super popular dojo brands, but at the same time, we try to make sure that it's something that you guys are going to like,
Yeah. Juan wants to make sure that you know that Tenure was number 4 in your list.
Tenure's a great cigar, by the way. That if you like the tea flavor note in there, it's delicious. That was made at AJ's factory in Ocotel, so I do love that one. In fact, I have a box of those sitting around here somewhere, but
I have a few left. I'm saving.
Nice.
it's, what's weird about that one is you might be able to get a box off of Famous Smoke Shop, because when we did that release, there was a lot of boxes that were damaged in shipping.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it sold out, those ones that were damaged got new boxes, and then they came in way later after the sale was long over. And so they have, I think they still might have some sitting around that got new boxes.
Very nice. Uh-oh. Juan's putting it out there.
Oh yeah. Juan made me a cigar for my 60th birthday, which was made by the Espinosa crew. And it was a really fun project. There's only like 120 cigars total or something like that. I think I have all of them except for, the ones that we smoked that night, and we've given some away to some guys, but I'm going to hang on to most of those because they have a special meaning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that looked like a fun
That
party.
cigar, I'm not gonna. Yeah, that cigar was really good. I'm not gonna name who gave it to me, but the cigar, the guts, was really, really good.
Oh, you got one, huh? You got to
thanks.
smoke one.
Wow.
Yes,
How do you hold him back
yes.
on it?
It was.
Hold him back on it.
It was a cigar. It's a Southtown crew member.
Wow. Very
Is
nice.
Chi-Town crew the best crew on the dojo?
Oh, that's not a fair question. I will
Oh,
say
that's
this.
tough.
I will say
That's
this.
tough.
A lot of cigar. You guys probably don't even know half of the groups that have come and gone. Like, I still have all of that information of there's been groups. There was an Oklahoma Red Dirt or something crew, and then it was the South Florida something, and there was a vampire crew, guys that hung out at night. There was all these groups that have come and gone. And then there's only a few that stick around, like the Wrecking Crew is still around, but they're not really on the dojo that much. They kind of have to do their own thing, which is great. Like, I love that. Like, good. I'm glad those guys are all still buddies. They hook up in Florida every year and hang out together. Of course, Castle Crew still floating around. And then, of course, you guys have been strong for a long, long time. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out, but those are the ones. We haven't had any new ones for a long time. And so you guys probably have been, I don't know, I'd say the most regular to stay on the dojo. Like, because sometimes what happens is, like with the Wrecking Crew, is you get this group of guys and then you kind of go off onto your own, like your own thing. And again, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm glad that they like to hang out with each other, but then they're not as big a part of the community anymore, because now they're just, they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But you guys are still a big part of the community, so we really appreciate that.
Yeah, we try. I know we've had Mo Mali on a couple times now. He was part of a crew years and years ago. I know he joined one of our herfs one day and saw a bunch of the guys that he hadn't talked to in years and was like, "Oh, we were all part of the same." It might have even been like the Vampire Crew or something like that, where they're all like late night people that were
right,
stuff like that. So
yeah, Mo was like a dojo regular guy, but way before he did his brand.
Yeah,
and there's been a few of those. And now I'm, obviously Juan Cancel was a dojo. He was one of the original members of the dojo, and then went on to do his own brand, and now he's part of the dojo. So things change over the time, and it's cool to see, guys like Tyler Jeffrey go off and do his own thing and make his own brand, and it's cool to see Mo having success, and love that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun having those guys on.
Matt wants to be a member of Chi-Town Crew, so all you have to do is be here for one herf.
That's it.
Which we post on the dojo, so then you're an honorary member.
So one of the things that I wanted to pick your brain on is, and I guess it seems like in the last year or so, the cigar media is taking a hit. It seems like for, I want to say last year really seemed like it came to be where brands were not sharing their press releases as prolific as they were. We don't know that. We came in and we're at the beg, borrow, and plead section now of, can you please send us your press releases? It's like, do you think cigar media is, I don't want to say we're not wavering, but that we're trying as hard as we can to stay relevant to the cigar industry, and the cigar industry is more looking towards the brick and mortars?
I would just say that for one, it's much easier for cigar brands to share their own information nowadays because of social media. So just right there alone changes kind of everything. Like back in the day, there were no Facebook groups. There were no, so you'd have to make sure to get the news out that you were sending the stuff to cigar media. And so then now that you can do your own thing, that sort of falls to the wayside a bit. And I don't whine about it. Like a lot of guys really, really freak out and whine about this sort of stuff. Like, my opinion is it's on you to adjust to the modern day way of doing things. And that's just the modern way of doing things. And even this could change in the next 5 years. Who knows what, the next, thing will be that changes the way that we do business. So you got to adjust and we don't, the dojo, we try to keep up on news, but that isn't like our main thing. We're not like Half Wheel or Coop. We do news because it's interesting.
Yep.
But that's, our main thing is the lifestyle portion, which is, reviews and cool articles, and of course the community and the podcasts and that kind of thing. So news is just like a ancillary sort of thing that we do. But if it was the main thing that we did, let's just say, for instance, it was the main thing that we do, it would be my responsibility to be tracking that news down. Like if you're a news outlet, you can't whine because they don't give you news. You got to go get the news. Like it's not their job to do your business for you. Now, should they send out press releases to help spread the word? Of course they should. But what are you going to do? Just complain about it the rest of your life, or are you going to do something about it? Like you can't make them do it, So you just got to deal with what you get. And in my opinion, I don't freak out about it like some people do. I don't even really care. Like, to be honest with you, like I'm going to get the news that I get. And if you don't want me to help you, then okay. It's up to you. That's your call. Like we all have our own business to run, and you got to find a way to be relevant.
Yeah. I mean, and again, we're 73, 74 episodes in, and what we've reverted to is, okay, hey, we'll go to half wheel. We'll pull it off a half wheel and share it with our audience as best we can, because until you get a name, we don't have the Cigar Dojo banner fly over our head. So at the same point, it's like, okay, we'll introduce ourselves to brands, and then we'll say, hey, you can send it to us, and if not, then we end up we'll go to half wheel a lot of times, or dojo, or wherever we can, to sort of pull information to be able to say, hey, because some of our people are on dojo, some of our listeners are on dojo, some of them aren't. So we want to be able to share, here's what's going on, here's what the releases are that are coming up. So I agree. I think it's just a point of adapting and going, okay, if you're not getting it, it's out there somewhere, just go find it, and
you guys aren't publishing it online on a website, right? You're not publishing the news, you're just talking about it.
Right.
If we get releases, we did launch a website this year. So if we get the news, if we get a press release, we will do an official press release and then put it on our website. And if we don't, then we'll share it on the show. We have a segment usually where we'll talk about news and what's going on and stuff like that. So
our website doesn't get a lot of traction, but we do have that Chi-Con Spark Cigar Podcast.com where we do reviews. We post some reviews there. We also do video reviews. And
gotcha.
We did our top 10 this year for the first time, which was fun.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
that got a lot of traction.
Yeah, those typically do. Yeah, that's what people like.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy to see the traction, and I know you've said it, Coop has said it, other people have said that seems to be the time that, as crazy as lists are, as crazy as the time gets, everybody wants to see your top 10 list, or everybody wants to see what are your top 15, your top 20. We sort of followed in Dojo's philosophy that it has to be released in this year. It can't be a limited release cigar. So we only do new lines for our list, and it was exciting to be considered for the half wheel consensus. It was
and it was a lot of work just to do a top 10 list. So
yeah,
I know you guys do top 20
right,
plus the side awards. It takes a lot of effort to do this kind of thing.
Oh man, that's a massive amount of work, and Jordan does yeoman work on that whole project, and that usually starts, actually putting the stuff together starts in November, and then it's a full 2 months of putting everything together, and by the time, I think we usually do it sometime mid-January, basically, is when our list hits. And yeah, you're right, it's a ton of work, but it pays off because you get massive amounts of traffic and attention, and that's really why you do all this in the first place.
And people like talking about them and debating them, and
yeah, we have it's mainly me, Jordan, and Scott that do like the final final type of stuff, but Robbie and Randy and Chad and Matt and Juan, they all have their input, and then we take their input and what we try to do is come up with the list that is the most sort of like dojo focused kind of list. And sometimes there's surprises. Last year was kind of crazy because there wasn't a lot of great cigars. So, but this year was a great year for cigars, I thought. So there was a lot of cigars on there that I think, the dojo community loved. And it really was a nice one, I thought. One of my favorite lists.
So it's what, 6 of you that review cigars, and then the 3 of you sort of put your list together with input from the others.
So the main thing is our list has nothing to do with the cigars that we review necessarily. We just, like, a cigar could be on that list that we didn't review at all, but we all smoked it and said, oh, this definitely needs to be here, that kind of thing. Usually what happens is about September comes around and we start getting all the cigars that were released in that year. And that's when we start funneling through everything, filtering through it, smoking it together, talking about it, sitting around this table here that you guys have been at, talking with me, Jordan, Matt, like, hey, like, do you think this one has a chance to be on here? And sometimes there's a shocker, like, oh my God, this has got to be on here. Like, this thing is freaking amazing. And then we'll try it again to make sure that we were just not drunk that night or something. And eventually, after a few months, we start to see things starting to crystallize, like, for instance, this year when we first smoked the Perdomo Legacy Shade Grown, we said, this is for sure going to either be number 1, 2, or 3. Like, it's so good. It's affordable. It's wide release. It's got everything about it that, deserves to be on this list. And so, yeah. And then you start filling in the gaps, and then you have one that's number 2 for a long time. And then all of a sudden you're like, maybe that one should be moved down just a tad, that kind of thing. And then eventually Jordan and me and Scott really like finalize it and say, okay, this is the way it's going to go down.
So do you stop after? So, I mean, if something comes out in October, November, it's still considered, right?
Oh, we'll consider it all the way up until, cigars tend to not come out in December, and so, but there has been exceptions where a cigar, hit late and we give it a try. See, hey, does this deserve anything that's in 2026 or that year? We'll consider. Some people might say, well, you haven't had that long enough to give it come on. Like, we smoked it. We've smoked it several times. We know what it's all about. And our whole point is this is the cigar of the year list. So it's, maybe you don't like that concept. Maybe some people don't like that concept. I don't know why they wouldn't like that concept, but if it came out that year, we're going to give it a chance. We're going to give it its fair shake.
Absolutely.
I was thinking of switching ours and calling it the year of the end list.
Yeah. I like that. It's good.
Oh,
See if Juan catches on to that. Yeah. Every time he did his read, that's how he would say it.
Let's not get into reads. Juan will stick around. I'll go through my reads, and I haven't hit my read yet. So I'm not great rant. So.
Yeah, you got to get that monster truck voice going. And
all right, let's take a quick break here. Let's hear from our sponsors, and then we'll come right back with Master Sensei.
Looking for the ultimate eyewear experience in Chicagoland? Discover Eyewear Fix, your premier eyewear store for over 28 years. From sunglasses to sports glasses to safety gear, we've got it all at every price point. Bring your prescription, and we'll handle the rest. Our appointment-only office offers a private, concierge-style experience tailored to your busy schedule. Call or text Chris at 630-853-4167 to book your visit and see why Eyewear Fix surpasses expectations. Eyewear Fix, where style meets precision. Get your fix today. Step into luxury at Ultimate Cigar Lounge, where passion meets perfection. Discover a world of premium cigars, hand-selected from the finest tobacco regions. From bold beginners to seasoned aficionados, our curated collection delights every palate. Grab a cigar from our amazing selection, pair it with freshly brewed coffee or fine spirits, and sit back and relax in an atmosphere of elegance and warmth. Ultimate Cigar Lounge, your haven for unforgettable moments. Visit us today and ignite your senses. Ultimate Cigar Lounge, located in Villa Park, Illinois. Open daily.
This episode of Chi-Town Cigars is brought to you by Aganorsa Leaf Cigars, where great cigars begin exactly where they should, with the tobacco. Grown from authentic Cuban seed tobacco on Aganorsa's own farms in Nicaragua, these cigars are built on flavor, balance, and craftsmanship. No gimmicks, no shortcuts. From the first light to the final draw, you taste the difference when the leaf comes first. Aganorsa Leaf Cigars. The leaf is our strength.
You did pretty good, I'd say, Mike.
I'm getting better.
Yeah,
I'm getting
I'm
better.
proud of you.
Master Sensei stepped away for a second here. But yeah, let's sort of see. Val Chavez is asking, is there going to be a name change to the Cigar Fest, something like Big Amal's Cigar Fest? I don't think so. I think it's going to stick just right where Rocky Mountain is supposed to be. Dojo's going to change it to the Year of the Endless. There you go, Juan. And then
we need to get Juan on the show.
I talked to Juan. Juan and I are going to do our boutique session. We're going to talk about boutique cigars. He's a big fan of the boutique cigars. I am loving more and more the boutique brand cigars, and I'm exploring those, sort of following in Juan's footsteps. I thought I had the idea before Juan did, and then Juan jumped on Cigar Dojo and started talking Juan's Boutique of the Week, and I'm like, oh. So
you guys, your brand badges have exploded this year. So
yeah, that's in big part to Juan. Like he's gotten pretty much all of these recent ones that he's taken it upon himself to go and get a lot of these companies on board. I wouldn't say I'm the best salesman in the world, like that's not really my forte. And so we've never really had a guy like Juan that's a go-getter doing that kind of thing. And so it's great having him do that because we've been able to add, 20 or 30 or so brand badges since Juan's been a part of this.
Yeah, it's been great.
So there's been a lot of brands that I haven't tried before that I've tried from that. So that's
that's a fun, right? Like you get like a brand that you haven't tried, and now there's a badge, and so hey, this gives me a reason to grab a 5-pack and grab a badge, get a digital badge, but in the meantime, see if this is something that you like,
Juan, obviously you gave Juan a goal for this year because now he's bragging that he's got 30, but who's counting? So Juan,
it's been impressive.
I mean it's interesting. I didn't know about Avowed cigars, and then watching the Half Wheel end of the year discussion with Charlie and hearing about Avowed, I was like, wow, that's an interesting brand that I'm definitely interested in trying. And there's quite a few boutiques out there. It's amazing to see. We had Tyler on with Mo right after a couple weeks after you guys did to talk about the leprechaun dust and stuff like that. And it's just those two guys are really just working hard at it. So it's great. And obviously Eric with Black Star Line, one of our buddies. So I mean, there's quite a few out there, and it's nice to see that Dojo is. You've always welcomed them, but it's even more so now to go. Hey, we want to see what you've got. So it's awesome.
Yeah, because it's funny because when I actually was hanging out with Klaus Kellner in the DR like 2 years ago, and he handed me the cigar, which was the Vow. And he couldn't tell me what it was. He was like, I can't tell you yet what this is, and I was like, oh man, like this is so good. Like I love it. And then ultimately it turned out to be that. And so it was kind of fun being at the, ground zero of that before it was even a thing. that's a really good cigar. And like Domain Cigars, they're doing some really cool stuff. And Furman Perez, like that. I don't know if you've had the Bold, it's in the red box, but God, that's a really good cigar. So yeah, there's these weird little, companies trying to make their way in the world, and there's so many that you don't know what to try, or it's almost like white noise. But not when there's a badge, at least there's like, oh, okay, this is almost like a little mission. I can go on this little mission and I can try it and see what it's all about. And so it kind of gives you a reason to try it.
Well, and it's fun too, because that section of Smoke Night Live is sort of that spotlight. And you're like, oh, I haven't heard of this one. Let me go out and try it. Let me go out and see what they're all about. I happened to win the Hoot and Young giveaway that Juan did on it. And I smoked those cigars and I'm like, wow, these are fantastic. So I got to be careful not using the word phenomenal now that Juan
he trademarked that.
I know he did. I got to keep sending him checks after every Tuesday night. But yeah, so it's neat to be able to see some of these that we haven't heard of. And again, it's a compliment to what you guys are doing to be able to say, hey, we're going to spotlight these, because we talked with Mo, and he really was like, he thinks, and I agree with him, that the boutique brands are pushing the bigger brands. Hey, look what these little boutiques are doing. And the big brands are like, oh, we gotta sort of keep up with the small guys. If they're doing this, we got to sort of make sure that we're not lagging behind. We can't sit back on our laurels to go, hey, this is, we're okay where we're at.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, there's a bazillion that are out there, and let's frankly, some of them are not very good. And so, there's no way to know. Now, that's one nice thing about Juan is he's looking at these ones and kind of pre-filtering, trying to find diamonds in the rough to share with you guys in that segment. Like, hey, this is good. Check these guys out. See what they're all about. But eventually, over time, I mean, new brands pop up all the time. It's like a never-ending. You'll never run out of, little boutique brands to try, because they're always starting. They're always starting up. There's a brand started up this week that we posted news about, Denara or something like that. Like all these weird things, and that's what makes it fun. Yeah, like big brands, they're always gonna be there. They're always gonna be selling their big lines and that kind of stuff. But that gets boring after a while when you're like a cigar nerd like we all are. Like the typical guy that goes into a cigar shop, the older guy that buys boxes of Macanudo and that kind of thing, he'll never care about any of this, and that's fine. But then there's guys like us that we're like really into it. And we're always trying to seek out like something fun and new and fresh. And so that's why Juan's Boutique of the Week is valuable, I think, because it gives you at least a, hey, okay, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna see what that's all about, And
it'll be fun for Juan this year, obviously at PCA, to sort of have a mission, because those boutique brands pop up at PCA. So it's a matter of going, hey, what's he gonna find and what's he gonna bring back to the dojo to go, hey, I met these guys at PCA and it's a new brand. And
right.
We got a couple interesting questions here.
Okay.
So Aaron is asking, do you see a parallel with the cigar bust of the 90s? And I guess parallel happening now.
I mean, no, I don't think so, because the bust of the 90s was dramatic. And it came because of the boom, and the boom was so big that after a while there wasn't any tobacco left to make good cigars. So most of the cigars were crappy, and then that led to the bust. I don't think you have that now. You might have there's definitely a downturn after COVID, because during COVID, everybody was home smoking cigars. So like sales were through the roof, and people were smoking, twice as many cigars as they normally would. And so now that's sort of back to normal levels. So I wouldn't call this a bust. I would just call this like a normalization. But the nice thing is I feel like we are in a quality boom. Like you get such fewer really crappy, releases that have terrible I mean, they were pumping out like, Candelas left and right at the time. They were doing everything they could to meet the demand in the 90s, and that really isn't going on now, so I don't see it crashing like that. I just see to me, this is more of a normalization.
All right. Another question. Matt asking, where do you draw the line on what's a boutique? You guys did a whole show on that,
big
right?
debate, yeah.
Yeah. That's I feel like that's one of those questions that almost each individual person has to answer themselves in a way, but yeah, we tried. Terrence was terrible on that show. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he refused. Everything was a boutique, he's like, Terrence is like one of my best friends in the world, but come on, Terrence, you got to do better than that. That was just his answers on that show. I will never forgive him, because every single brand was a boutique. Like, how about Davidoff? They're a boutique, because they put a lot of effort into their cigar. Oh, come on now, it was ridiculous, Terrence. You should be ashamed of yourself for that show. But I would say boutique is brands that are small. Yeah, that's one aspect of it. Brands that are paying attention to craft, trying to make something special, that kind of thing. Like, that's where it gets into the gray area, right? Like, because then that's a subjective answer. It's not objective. Like, how do you know they're really putting it into the craft? I don't know. But I think ultimately it really boils down to like the size of them. Like, they're a smaller company that is focusing on quality. That's kind of where that's what I would say boutique mainly is.
Fabian was on 2 weeks ago on our show, and he said Aganorsa is a boutique.
Well, I just can't. They're one of the biggest producers of tobacco in Nicaragua, at the factory, the farms and stuff.
Yeah.
And now, if he's talking about just the brand Aganorsa Leaf, even that, I think, I don't see how you could consider that boutique. But that's funny, because we get that all the time. Like, back in the day when we listed companies in Dojoverse, we list them as like small, medium, large, and I think we had Alec Bradley listed as large, which makes sense, right? Alec Bradley, they're in like every single shop in the world pretty much, and they were like not really mad, well, they're our friends, but they were like, why'd you guys put us as a large? We're a medium company just to kind of getting by. And I'm like, come on, man, give me a break. You're in literally every cigar store in the world. So I think brands, for some reason, like to be considered the boutique, and that I don't see why you care. Like, that it isn't bad if you're not boutique. Ultimately, all that matters is, are you making good cigars? Boutique is just a word to describe smaller companies that are, kind of getting started and kind of doing their own thing, or maybe they've determined that they don't want to get big and they want to kind of stay in this sort of smaller realm, like of, hey, we're just doing like these 3 or 4, lines, and that's it. We're just a small little boutique company. I think you could say the same thing with, clothes or whiskey or wine or beer, like, it's the same concept. As soon as like a brewery, a little small brewery, could be you might consider them a craft brewery, but now all of a sudden, now they're distributed throughout the country, and now all of a sudden Oscar Blues comes along and buys them. Like, you can't consider them craft anymore. Like, now it's just a large brand. So things change, it changes, and whether they want to think that they're craft or not, they're not.
I guess one of the questions I've got is, you guys have some staple shows that people look forward to. I love the Cigar Stock Market show. I think that is probably one of the funnest shows. I look forward to that every time you guys have it, because it's good audience participation. It's good to be able to see what people are saying, buy, sell, or hold on. Do you have a favorite, I guess, staple show?
And that's a really fun one. That's one of the more fun ones for sure. Cigar Brand Stock Market. And I think the plan is to do one of those after PCA, because that's a good time to do it, where you can kind of see like what they did, what they've announced, what they were like at the show, and now how do you feel about them right at this moment, And that's the whole concept of that show that some people don't get, because like they're like, why did you sell Crown Heads, and I'm like, well, last year I bought Crown Heads. Like it depends on how I feel about them. It's like a cross section right here, right now. Like, what do they like right now? And that's the whole idea with that show, which makes that one kind of fun. And then I don't know if you guys saw the show last week, but we're going to do that a lot more. Because I thought that was really telling how people would build out their cigar shop humidor. What brands would they put where, and like Juan went really heavy with boutique stuff, basically filled out his whole, and Jeff, he was a little bit more the big brand guys. He had Altadis and STG and that kind of thing. And I guess I was somewhere in between there. And then the crazy thing was when the audience voted, it was almost a perfect 3-way tie. I think me and Jeff both had 34% and Juan had 32. So, I mean, that's as close to a tie really as you can get, and so I'd like to see like Coop do that. I'd like to see, I'd like to see how he would fill out his humidor. Like I really don't know. Like Coop's, he's a wild card. You never know what he's going to say. And so I want to have Coop do that. Like, I think that would be fun. I'd like to see, Abe. I'd like to see Nick Libretti. I'd like to see some of those other guys and see how they would fill out that humidor. So that's another fun one that we're going to start doing. And then S tiers are fun. So we changed. We used to do a lot of the brackets, right? The bracket challenges. But there's one big downfall to the bracket challenge, and that is you don't really get to see where they all rank against each other. Like, it's in the first round, half of them get kicked out. And so maybe the one that got kicked out in this bracket up here would have done pretty good against some other ones. So you don't really get to see. But when we do the S tier thing, we're moving more towards doing that instead, because then you get a feel for, how, let's say you're doing candy bars, for instance, right? Like now you get to see how they all relate to each other, not just who got kicked out of this round. Because one, it's kind of like, like you always hear the story about like the toughest guy at a bar, right? The toughest fighter at a bar. There's always another guy at another bar that could beat him, but not every guy. Like there's a weakness to each one. It depends on who they're fighting. Yep. And so when you do the bracket challenge, it sort of skews it in a way where you don't get to see maybe how they all relate to one another. Plus, you end up talking about one brand a whole bunch of times, like at one here, at one here, at one here, at one here, yeah. And then you've talked about it like 5 different times. Yeah. So S tier is a little bit better. You just talk about it one time, you put it where it goes, and then you see where they all relate together. So we'll be doing a lot more of those S tier things as time goes by.
You got to go back and redo the breakfast cereals.
I know.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch got a bad rap, so I mean, it could really show up well on the S tier.
I 100% we got to do that one, because that, what's crazy is that when that happened, there was this big revolt on the dojo of these people were like, justice for Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's like, I think a group got started. There was like a dojo group got started, like trying to like sing the praises of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It was hilarious.
Funny. I think Juan just said it here. It makes dojo specials entertainment, cigar entertainment, and it's funny to get all 100 people that are watching Smoke Night Live that are so passionate about cereal. It's like,
yeah, right. Everybody's passionate about cereal, right?
Yeah, it's the most crazy thing to go. My gosh, people! Yeah, there was a revolt. There was. I'm done. I'm not.
Yeah,
yeah. I can't stand this. So, is that the show one that he didn't get kicked off that show?
Yeah, it was him and Juan Lopez from Gurkha were drunk in a parking lot. We had to kick him off the show. That was like
I watched that show live.
Now, of course, Juan, he has come around. He's cleaned up his life. And no more of that stuff. He's amazing. Like that guy. I'm so proud of where he is in his life right now. It's awesome. Like to see him. It's very hard to, when you're in that kind of crazy party lifestyle, it's so hard to get out of it. And he did it on. I mean, when I say he did it on his own, there may have been people that helped him along. I don't know. I'm just saying he did it, and he's a perfect example that you can do that. And he became a Christian. He got baptized. He's hardworking. He's easy to get along with. God bless him. He's a great guy.
I mean, I watched that show. I will be honest, I didn't have much exposure to Juan prior to that show, but I watched that show and I'm like, man. And then to see the transformation, it's like, holy cow, and it's I agree 100%.
That show that you did where he went through like his entire journey.
From seed to wine.
Pretty much. That was a great show.
Yeah. That was fun. Yeah.
It's great. But I love those segments. I love those little special shows. And I can tell you from our standpoint, I give you guys a lot of credit because you guys just hit 500.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're at 72 or 7, whatever we're at. And it's like, going, okay, what are we doing for the next show? And we start plotting together. And I'm thinking, how do you do 500 of these? How do you come up with, it's like, holy good gosh.
You know, what's crazy about that is, let's just say, for instance, you found a theme of your show that worked really, really well. Like, whatever it is, like say it's the humidor thing that we did Friday, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody loves it, and you get great viewership, and you're super happy with it. If you do that too much, people get sick of that. You have to constantly be thinking of. So what we try to do is always be coming up with these, new sort of crazy ideas, and then also mix in just regular shows where we're just interviewing a person. You have to have kind of like, you have to be kind of mixing it up. Because another thing is that you guys are going to find out, because you're only on 72, is when you've interviewed everybody in the industry, there's not much more to get from some folks. Like you've had him on 3 times. You've had this guy on 3 times. What else? We've gone through the history. We've gone through, okay, maybe if they're having like a big release or something, that might be kind of interesting, but that we do have some guests that we bring back a lot just because they're really good on the show. Obviously, Terrence, he's amazing on a show. Fred, Coop, that kind of thing. Those guys, they're just really good on the show. But you have to find a way, to just come up with things that are fairly unique. I always joke, when we first started the dojo, we gave away a prize every single Friday, a pretty big prize.
Wow.
And after a while, and we had so many entries, you guys would not believe how many the old dojo crew, how they would get into these contests. Like it might be like a selfie contest or whatever, and they would be so creative. They do all this stuff, but then as the years went on, people got bored with that, and now it's hard to do a contest and get people super excited. Yeah. So I always joke to Jordan, I was like, we could give away a gold bar, every week. And then after like 30 weeks, people would be bored with getting a gold bar. They would. It's crazy. Yeah. You wouldn't think that would be the case, but people just get bored with stuff after a while. We've done this, and now it's time for something new. So that's the challenge, is coming up with new stuff, all the time to keep it interesting. And usually my best ideas come to me like in the middle of the night when I'm like, I can't sleep, and I like, all of a sudden, just for whatever reason, this idea hits me, and then I run into the studio the next day and I tell Jordan, "Oh, I got it. We got, this is what we're gonna do." So yeah, it is a challenge to keep it fun and interesting.
It absolutely is. It's like, okay, we did that. So how do we come up with something different? How do we come up with something that is new and exciting? And at the same point, and I think I messaged you at one point and said, "Hey, we're doing the same show."
Yeah,
and we, it's like, we weren't copying you guys. It was just something that we came up with. And it's like, but it's at the same point, there are so many podcasts or so many shows that it's like, you're going to copy somebody. You're going to, and not copy them, but you're going to duplicate what they did, but in a different format. So it's always,
that's happened to us so many times, or several times, where we've announced the show and then like, Coop contacts me. He's like, "Hey man, like I did that like 4 years ago." And I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I had no idea that you did that, And so that happens. And what are you gonna do? And so there's been times where we changed our show because it was like too, and then I've even given, like, we did a show it was maybe a couple years ago. It was called like I think it was called like the last cigar on earth. And I swear it was like 2 weeks later, Cigar Authority had almost the identical show.
Yes.
And I knew in my head that it was just a coincidence, you know, but I still gave them some crap online just because that's what you do. You know, you gotta bust some balls. And, but that happens, right? I'm sure they didn't mean for that to happen, but you know, it happens to us, and we probably do it to other guys too.
And I think that's a great thing with cigar media. We've worked a lot. I mean, Bob, the cigar guy in chief, helped us with a lot, you know, and they're like, hey, if you need something, let us know. Abe, we had on our show. Same thing. If you need something, reach out to me, let me know. And it's great to have that type of community in cigar media to go, we're new. You know, I mean, our shtick for the first couple months was we're going to bring anybody in from Chicago. And I mean, and it's funny to go, okay, so Mo Mali, Eric from Black Star Line, Lauren Coper from McAuliffe is from Yorkville, obviously Abe. So, you know, Glenn Case from Christoph. So we were like, hey, this is great. And all of a sudden we're like, all right, we're tapped out. You know, you know, hey, that was great. You know, all right, who else, you know, and so it's like, okay, that worked for a little bit, but now we've got to sort of expand and start dipping our toe into the big cigar industry and going, okay, let's try to start getting some of these guys on. So it's
Fireborn's got a good idea for a show coming up where we teach Teddy how to retrohale. Teddy's not here to make fun of right now, and there's a lot of people asking about his Wi-Fi.
Fair.
It always happens. It, like I said, it happened to me, so it happens.
Hey, he's on AOL dial-up. What do you want? I mean,
now you're dating some of us. Going, hey, now did you hear the big news that came out of Google in the last couple of days?
Tell me what.
You can go in if you have a Gmail account.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
And you can change your Gmail address for those of us that have some wacky old Gmail email addresses. So
yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. Do you retrohale, right?
Oh yeah, I can't not.
Yeah, I can't either. I probably catch myself doing it too much. And I've heard people say you shouldn't do it that much, but I just get so much flavor out of retrohale.
Yeah, it's just part of the way I do it. So I don't know. I almost can't not do it.
Yeah.
I don't even think about it really. That's just the way I do it.
I haven't heard you say it. I mean, I guess you say it quite a bit. Jordan definitely gets some distinct flavors or flavor notes out of cigars.
Yeah, Jordan and Scott are the two main guys that do the reviews because they're really good at that. And I always try to help Jordan when he's doing a review. I'll sit here with him and he'll ask me what I think and But he's so much better at that than me. Maybe it's because he's young and I'm old, you know, and some of my receptors are shot probably. I don't have as good of. That's not really my forte, but Chad's really good at that. Chad's really good at that. Scott's great at it. Scott Braband, he's really, really good at picking out like specific things. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I get, you know. And that's the beauty of reviews in general, right? Is like, and people would say like, oh, it's just the power of suggestion. Well, there's some truth to that, but that's not bad. That's not like a bad thing. That's not a pejorative term. Like, yes, when I drink a wine, you know, I drink a certain red wine. If I read a review of that wine and the guy says I'm getting leather and blackberry, then my mind says, okay, let me look for that, and then I might find that, you know, and that's the whole point of a review, is to give me something to look for, see if I like that flavor, or if I get that flavor, or that kind of thing. And so like a lot of people just say like, I don't know how you guys get all that stuff. I just smoke. I get cigar. That's what I get. Like, okay, you can try a little bit harder. I mean, you know, that's the fun of smoking cigars is the delicious flavor. Like, what are you getting? You know, like, and like you'll say like, this cigar has a lot of leather in it. Like, what, you eat leather? How do you know what leather tastes like? No, I'm not eating the cigar either. It's the aroma. It's the flavor on my tongue, the smell, the aroma. Like, just like I get with, if I smelled an old baseball mitt. Like it's that same thing. Like you have to be a little bit flexible and a little bit explorative if you want to, get some of these flavors. But if you just enjoy smoking cigars and you just say, hey, I get smoke in my mouth and I blow it out, that's fine too. I don't care. But at the same time, I feel like you're missing out if you're not at least trying to get some fun stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the fun of, there's some cigars you smoke just to smoke. It's my car cigars, or now I have my office cigars that I will smoke a New Cuba Corojo every morning because it just goes well with a cup of coffee and I don't have to worry about it. I know what I'm going to, I'm not looking for flavor notes out of it versus, the Reviver or something like that. I'm enjoying the cigar. I'm getting the flavor notes. It's like, oh, these are, and that's, I think that's the balance in there too, is certain cigars you should be spending time with and just trying to discover what's special about that cigar.
And I feel like, one of the most underrated things about taste and flavor is the actual taste you get from your tongue on the tobacco itself. Mm-hmm. Like you'll never ever get a salty note from the aroma. Like that's not a thing, but you do get a salty note from some tobaccos on your tongue, and it's an actual flavor. You're actually tasting that flavor with your tongue. So I like to really, that's why I'm mainly a straight cut guy, because I want to have my tongue, taste that tobacco, the actual tobacco itself. And sometimes I don't know about you guys, but have you ever had a cigar that has literally, it's just like paper on your tongue? Mm-hmm. Like to me, that's just a turnoff. Like if there's nothing, no little zing or no little salt or no little sweetness or no little chocolatey or something just on the tobacco itself, it's a turnoff to me. I feel like, it's just like paper. Like I want to have something there. I want to have some chocolate. I want to have some salt. I want to have something there that gets me, excited about that cigar. So as soon as I cut it, I taste it. And I love when I get like salt. I love when I get a little sugar or a little syrupy, like this Reviver, you get a little salt, but you also get a little bit of like a chocolatey note right on your tongue, before you even take a drag of it.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm smoking this thing and I'm like, man, I am getting chocolate like nobody's business in this thing. Yeah. I'm like, is it just me or, but no, I agree 100%. Just remind everybody before you take off or whatever, sharing is caring. Share our show, hit that like button. We can use it. We've got some exciting things coming up, and we need as many followers and as many people joining our show or watching our show, so we can push this out to brands to get sponsorship. So remember that. Anything else, guys?
My afterburner is smoking.
Wow, you made that last a long time, brother.
That has got a nice burn on it, and they're aging quite nicely.
I'm going to bring a box of those to New Orleans with me, because I haven't had one in a while.
I will throw this question to Sensei, because this is a special one. So Aaron wants to know a suggestion for a celebratory cigar. He's getting married in the fall. Congratulations. And would love to share some cigars with his buddies. And the question, I guess, is this at a bachelor party, or if this is at the wedding itself, you're going to be in trouble because you got to tell your bride, I'm going to go away for 90 minutes and smoke some cigars with some friends, which your bride might not be too happy with that. But if you're talking about a bachelor party or something pre-wedding, then I'm sure Sensei's got a great suggestion for you.
So I'm guessing that he's looking for me to give him like a real ultimate cigar. But here's my kind of opinion on that. When you're doing that, I like to try to pick a cigar that like all the groomsmen are gonna like. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could go out and get a box of H. Upmann 180th, and it's incredible cigar. Or you could get the new Romeo 150, right? You could do that. Mm-hmm. But they're expensive, and there's a good chance that like 4 of the groomsmen are going to smoke like a half of an inch of it, and they're just going to put it down. And that's kind of a drag. And so like I like to, when people ask me this question all the time, I say something like, get a couple boxes of AJ New World Dorado. The box is gorgeous. It's gold. You open it up, it's 10 cigars, and they're each in their individual little thing. The cigar is approachable to everybody. Every single groomsman is going to like it. And if they don't, you aren't breaking the bank. These are like $14, maybe less if you find a good sale. Like sometimes you can get those on sale, or a box of L'Orange, like Espinosa's L'Orange. That's a great cigar that everybody there is probably going to like, and you're not going to break the bank. So in my opinion, now, if you want to have your own personal, like really, really good cigar, that's just one or something, that's kind of a different question. Maybe, Davidoff 702 Special R, like, that's amazing. The Anniversario #1, it's like this long and it's just incredible. Like, you're going to love it, but it's $50, right? And so it'd be very difficult to give that to all the groomsmen and have you just be sick to your stomach when you looked over at the ashtray and there's like 3 of them sitting there that have barely been smoked, So I say get a couple boxes of New World Dorado. Everybody's going to love it. It's approachable to everyone. It looks expensive. It tastes delicious. It won't break the bank. That's my thought.
Yeah. No,
my stepdaughter got married last summer, and I brought Legacy Connecticut's, the Perdomos.
Nice. So that's a great choice because they're $12 a cigar, and I can't smoke enough of those. In fact, that Grand Bellicoso on the Connecticut side is absolutely fantastic. Those come in a 10 count box if you can still get them. That in the Connecticut is just lights out. It's almost a perfect cigar.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's I was just on a call with some coworkers, and some of the guys had never tried cigars, and so one of the guys gave them Maduros, and it was
bad idea.
They're like, it's probably my last cigar. I said, okay, next time when I get together with you, I will bring you some cigars, and we'll get you back on the right path. So yeah, and
it kind of depends on the Maduro, right? Like some of them are like more mellow. The really the shade of the wrapper doesn't necessarily mean strength or anything. So it just depends. You just got to be careful of the one you pick, like it is good. It is probably good to go somewhere in the middle, just to please every palate, that kind of a thing. That's why Dorado is nice, because I feel like that one pleases every palate. Any of those, some of the Perdomos can be kind of strong. There's no getting around that. But my daughter's wedding, I had a box of Connecticut, I had a box of Sun-Grown, and I had a box of Maduro in the Habano line, which that way guys could just pick whatever they wanted. It was great. It worked out perfect.
Yeah. For my son's wedding, I had a box of the new Cuba Titans, the Superiors, not Titans, the Superiors, which I thought was okay. It's a little sweet tipped. If guys haven't smoked it, it's nice to sort of get them into it. And then for the more attuned smokers, I had the Aganorsa anniversary cigar. So that was very nice for some guys. So it's you got to sort of know what your audience is. You got to know who you're bringing cigars to and what their ability is to enjoy a cigar. So,
Mike, are we going to do Wild Side tonight?
Yeah, we'll pass. Yeah, we'll pass on that. Yeah, it's almost 9:00. So, Teddy, we're glad you made it back.
Yeah, can you guys hear me finally? I feel like an hour and a half. I can finally have a nice connection. It's frustrating today.
Yeah.
I have one question before we close. Eric, how you with all this contact out, the AI is getting crazy out of hand. So how you stay authentic? How can we stay authentic with the cigar industry when we have all this new technology?
Well, unfortunately, AI is a tool just like any other tool. It can be used for good and it can be used for evil.
Yes.
And so you're stupid to not, use the tool. You just got to make sure you use it right. I do get annoyed when I can tell that certain blogs basically just turn their blog over to AI and it's just all these clickbait kind of things. and then the image is obviously AI generated, the text is obviously AI generated. It's like, okay, like, that's kind of lame. But if you're using it to like get your grammar correct and maybe help you with some of your imagery, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I would imagine it'll get worse before it gets better. But I also think, Teddy, that there's going to be there'll be some blowback, and I expect there to be sort of like a cottage industry where people where it becomes a thing like, hey, we aren't, we don't rely 100% on AI. We all of our content we write ourselves, and that kind of thing. And I think people they'll probably gravitate towards those things. That'll become like a marketing point,
Yeah.
like you'll say like, our stuff is, human generated, and that'll become like part of your spiel.
Yeah, that's going to be. Yeah, absolutely.
The company I'm working for now uses AI, but it's all in the background. So it's all stuff to help develop and to make our work a lot easier. I mean, every morning I get an AI briefing of what my schedule looks like, and any emails that come through, it condenses that and tells me what I need to be looking at. So, I mean, there's some definite positives.
Oh yeah.
Work environment, but yeah, there's definitely some negatives, and yeah, companies are going to, people, I shouldn't say companies, but people are probably going to use it more and more for shortcutting authentic information or authentic reviews or authentic anything,
Imagine for a second if we thought of a spell checker as being bad, right?
Right.
You don't have any spelling errors in your blog. I'll bet you're using a spell checker. Like, that would be silly, right? And it's sort of like that. It's a tool, and you can overuse AI, but you're also crazy if you don't utilize it for the things that it's good for. Like when we go to PCA next week, each team will have a bracelet with a little AI recorder on it, so that when we get back to the house, because it's really hard, like you do interviews all day, but a lot of the talk is not during the interview, it's like before or after. And so like guys will say like really important stuff, like, oh, it was made at this factory or something, and you don't have that on, you don't remember what they said, and so having AI be able to condense that stuff down and say, hey, these were the important things that guy said in that booth. And that's a great way to use AI, right? Like nothing is fake there. It's just helping us remember what was said, and so that we can, get the information to you guys as we're covering the trade show.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's an actual really good technology pack right there.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
PCA this year should be exciting. We can't make it this year. We don't have the budget for it, but hopefully next year in Vegas we will. The Chi-Town guys will make their grand appearance. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what comes out of PCA, and there's some good stuff that looks like it's brewing, and it's gonna pop in. And
next year is Vegas, right?
Right.
So yeah, we're gonna show up with the fedoras.
Well, Eric, I thank you for taking time out and joining us. It was definitely a great show and some great learning for us. Keep doing what Cigar Dojo is doing. We're looking forward to Dojo 3.0. It'll be exciting.
I'm very excited.
Don't tell Jordan I told you that.
No.
Nope.
No press release.
I got to say thank you guys, not only for having me on the show, but just the ongoing support, you guys being part of our community and hanging out. That's what makes it so fun. And hopefully that we'll see you guys back here in the studio someday. We can hang out and have some beers together.
Absolutely. Marty,
any upcoming shows you want to advertise?
Yeah, so Friday we're doing a show called it's like our PCA pregame show where we're gonna do Does It Move the Needle? And so I'll have Coop and John McTavish on the show, of course Juan and Jordan and Scott and Matt, but we'll be talking about, hey, like I'm gonna go through like 20 or so of these releases that people have talked about already, that this is coming out at the show. does this move the needle for you? You know, are you excited about it? Super excited? Are you kind of excited about it? Does this, no, sorry, that doesn't do anything for me. So we'll go through, does it move the needle? And we'll talk about 20 or so of the upcoming, PCA releases.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
All right, Marty.
All right.
Close us,
Well,
buddy.
yeah, thanks again, Eric, for joining us. We really admire everything you've put together there. And thanks for the audience for all their comments tonight. Had a lot of great discussion there. And thanks for Juan for joining. Looking forward to having him on someday.
Absolutely.
And until then, everyone, put some smoke in the air.